Happy Monday, everyone. For some people, it's a mindful Monday. For other people, it's a motivational Monday. But if you're here with me, you know it's another day where you get to join me on the Other Side podcast, where we talk about all things about the journey, what it's like to be on the other side of the journey of the mental health process that we're all in, right? I call it a journey. It's a life's journey, right? It never ends. We just continue to do it. And so I'm really excited to have you guys on today. As you know, I typically have a topic that we get into. And so many of you that may have saw the post earlier might be excited for today's topic. I'm excited to bring it to you. How important is rest? Let's talk about it, right? Like, what are some of the benefits of rest? I think in this culture that we live in right now, there's a lot of like go, go, go kind of hustle mentality, hustle culture that's out there. And I can't say that I agree with it. Can't say. And the reason why is mainly because of burnout. I know that it definitely leads to burnout. Now, I myself am an entrepreneur, and you may have heard and seen those stories about how entrepreneurs are up all night and we wake up really early in the morning to get started before everyone else. And so I definitely am one of those people. I will get up earlier than most, but staying up late at night is not my thing. I've done it very rarely for my business, and it's only because I recognize the detriment it does to me. If I want to be 100% for others, who the people I'm called to serve and to help, how can I do that if I'm not well rested, right? And so for me, sleep has been important. And those of you who have been watching my stories, you know that I was doing a 30-day challenge where it was no blue light, no cell phone, no TV, no computer before 30 minutes before going to bed, right? And I wanted to see, how that would change my sleep. And it certainly has. I've had a much more restful sleep because of it. And I really thought it was important for us to get into some of the things or some of the hidden benefits of rest. So first, maybe just defining what rest is. Rest includes sleep, but I also believe it includes rest from stimulation. We are stimulated all the time, whether it's our phones and the different notifications that pop up all the time, whether it's on our computer, the emails that we receive, whether it's phone calls that we get, whether it's, watching things on TV, even if it's something that feeds the brain, you're listening to a podcast, something that like inspires you or whatever. But what that does, even in positive instances, it's just constant stimulation, right? Your brain is just being constantly stimulated, and there's no time for it to just rest, right? Just be. That is definitely what I am defining as rest as we talk about it for the rest of today's episode. So as we think about rest, right, some of the things that I think come up for people is, okay, so what are the importance of it, right? Like I'm busy, I'm with the kids, I have to deal with school, I have to deal with my job or my business, my partner, right? You have all these things to do. Like, you don't have time. Like, where am I supposed to fit in rest? Like, it can't be that important, right? Because I literally need to do all of these other things. So it kind of gets put on the back burner. So here are some reasons why it's important, right? For physical things. So if you're someone, you're out there and you're in the gym and you're working really hard, you're trying to get that summer body or just all the time body, right? You need rest even for your physical muscles, right? The rest allows the muscles to heal and then they actually grow back stronger, right? So this is important even for like physical rest when you're working out at the gym. Sometimes people can have like inflammation and things like that. And so you can really use rest to help kind of calm down the inflammation. Your immune system loves rest. Your immune system loves when you're sleeping, right? It really loves to do all the things. It can work at its fullest capacity when your body isn't focused on a million other things, right? So it really helps your immune system when you get rest. Stress. The less rest we get, the more stress affects us. The more easily we're affected by stress, the more difficult it becomes to manage stress. And so certainly you got to make sure that you're getting some rest because all of us have stress in our lives. There's always something that's going to come up, always something that's not going to plan. And so you got to make sure that you're well rested so you can be able to handle it the best that you can. Physical things like blood pressure, of course, or chronic pain that you may have Mental health, it's a big thing, right? Again, I was just talking about the overstimulation that we get. And so being able to help with your mental health is really important. So you need that rest. So and there are a ton of other things. It stimulates creativity. It improves your memory. Your attention span gets better when you have rest. Restores your energy, all of those things, right? So rest is super, super important. Those are the hidden benefits, the things that we don't even think, I believe, realize how rest is important. If you are running ragged, there's no way you're going to be able to do things to task, do them to the excellence with which you are capable of performing the different tasks and the different things that you need to do, and just maintaining the relationships that you want to maintain. There's no way you're going to be able to do that if you are just depleted, right? You definitely want to make sure that your energy stores are up. I've said this several times before, but you definitely want to give from an overflow and not from an empty cup. So I think once we start talking about, okay, got it, Janelle, rest is huge. It's obviously important. There are a ton of benefits I didn't even consider, or maybe some that you needed to just be reminded of, and that's totally fine. But let's also talk about how you can get rest. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. Just this past weekend, I took a big rest from social media. I just wasn't on it. I didn't post anything. I didn't do any stories. I mean, many of you, again, if you were following my stories, you saw that I was doing like this 30-day challenge, right? I wasn't even doing that, right? I didn't even post that I was doing this 30-day challenge. I just really needed to de-stimulate my mind from all of that and just I got to spend some time with a really close friend. Shout out to Rita. If you ever watch this, I had a great time catching up with her and just being in person, seeing each other, having really good food. All of that was really great. And then the next day, again, just rest. I did very little, just kind of tuned out, read some, which is really great. And then Sunday, I just kind of took a lot of naps, did a really long walk with my dog. And I just needed that to unwind. It was the thing that I know I needed to do to reset me so that way I could jump into this week with everything that I can to really have a lot of goals. I have a lot of dreams, and there are a lot of little micro goals in between to get me to my long-term goals. And so I knew that in order to complete the micro goals with all the energy that they required and all the focus that they required, I knew I just needed to shut it off and reboot and then restart, because otherwise I would just feel like I'm going, but to what end, right? I'm going, but at maybe half speed or maybe half the energy. And then the people that I've been called to serve, what's the purpose in that? Because now I'm giving them a morsel of what I know I'm able to give, right? So that's my personal story about how I literally just kind of unplugged from social media for a while. Obviously stayed connected to friends. Connection is huge. I've talked about this several times before, but we minimize the importance of connection to being human. Us as humans, we need connection. It's a part of what makes our mental health good. It impacts our physical health even. And so staying connected is important. And just because you're on your phone doesn't mean you're necessarily connected, right? Those social media actions you have aren't necessarily real. I'm not saying they aren't, right? Obviously, if you have a best friend and you're texting back and forth or you're sending them something funny on social media, okay, sure. But it's not the same when you actually get together with them, have a meal, chit chat, experience things together, right? That's super, super important. So what are some other things you do? I mean, I just talked about a weekend, right? I took technically a Friday afternoon, Saturday and a Sunday, where I just didn't engage in social media, and I didn't really engage a lot with the computer itself. I did a little bit, but honestly, way less than I normally do. And that felt really good and really rejuvenating, spending more time outside in nature. You can do those things on a daily basis, actually. You don't have to create like days at a time where you do this. You can actually do this for a few minutes a day, right? So make sure you put in a 30-minute walk every single day. You can do that, right? Like a part of your exercise routine. Again, if you're normally pushing a lot of weights and things, that maybe you cut back the weights a little bit. Maybe if you did 30 minutes of weights, maybe you do 10 and then do a 30-minute walk, right? And just kind of give your body some time to rest. Additionally, while you're walking around, it's a twofer, right? You're in nature. There are plenty of studies out there that show that when you hear birds chirping, that actually increases your happiness factor, right? It actually creates a sense of joy. The lack of hearing birds chirping actually gets us closer and closer to that depressive state, or at least makes us more prone to it. I guess that's the right word. Yeah, makes us more prone to having feelings of depression without the birds, right? So now you're hearing the birds chirping, you're feeling the actual sun on your skin, right? You're absorbing that vitamin D. Maybe you see some people on your walk, right? You say hello to some neighbors and you're just enjoying the fresh air, right? All of that is super restful for the body. You're not connected to anything Bluetooth, right? So you're just relaxing. I also, sometimes people say, oh, I'll listen to a podcast on a walk and things like that. I agree. Sometimes you can do two things at once, right? You listen to something that's very learning experience, something that helps you grow. I love that. But I'm also going to recommend that sometimes you don't do that. The reason why is because if you continue on your walk and you're still listening to a podcast, your brain isn't really at rest. It's still absorbing information. So I'm not saying don't listen to a podcast. I'm just saying don't do it all the time, right? Just sometimes just go outside. You don't need to like fill your brain with information. You can just walk around and be. So that's something simple, right? 30 minutes a day. Breathing, the most effective breathing technique. And literally you can do this and nobody even knows that you're doing it. But you could do this for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't even have to be that long, but it's the 4-7-8 technique, where you breathe in for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 7, and then you breathe out for a count of 8. So again, you breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and then breathe out for a count of 8. That has been highly documented to be really effective in decreasing our anxiety and a lot of the different hormones that run through us when we're feeling a lot of stress. It kind of calms us down and relaxes us and helps us be in the moment, right? So being more mindful in the moment. I love breathing techniques. I love doing also stretches. There's this form of yoga called yin yoga. Also, people do yoga nidra. I guess we're talking about both of them, but yin yoga is just holding different stretching poses for a long period of time. So maybe you're holding it for 1.5 minutes, 3 minutes, right? And this really gets into like the tendons and the muscles, right? And really just lengthens them out, because you're so like, even when you're stressed out, you're holding things, right? And your muscles are super tight when you're working out, super tight when you're running, whatever. Even doing regular yoga, super tight. But then this just allows you, again, you're breathing, you're relaxing, you're in the moment, and you're just allowing the muscles to relax and stretch and lengthen. It's a really beautiful form. Now, yoga nidra is different. It's kind of like a nesting yoga. Some people just call it a nap. But what you do is you get a nest, right? So blankets, pillows, whatever you need to do to get in a comfortable lying down position. And you listen to some very calming music. Again, nothing that stimulates information, but you're just listening to some calming music. And if you fall asleep, fine. Focus on your breathing. That 4-7-8 breathing is really great during yoga nidra, but yoga nidra is literally the practice of rest. Is the practice of rest. So definitely incorporating that. I remember there was a week where I did that. I just spent one 5-minute period a day. Like it was in the afternoon, but I would find 5 minutes in the afternoon and just do a yoga nidra. It was really nice. Meditating, this could also be seen as meditating. So yoga nidra is a little bit more lying down, so the whole body is rested. You can also meditate while lying down. This includes the breathing. Sometimes when people meditate, they just focus on like one thing or one thought. One of my mentors, Josh Valentine, I love one of the meditation mantras that he has, which is like, essentially he's asking God, how can I be of service? How can I be of service? How can I be of service? And he just focuses on that one thought and allows the creativity and the answer to come to him. I've done this many times. I really love that. Some people focus on joy and love and thinking about what all the people in their life that are close to them, and they just think of spreading joy and love to all of those people. They literally think of each person by person in their mind. They get the visual picture of that person and just, I'm sending you love and joy. I'm sending you love and joy. And they just do that. And that's kind of their meditation mantra. But it's just, again, it's slowing things down, slowing the breathing down, getting away from this stimulation, right? I think those are probably the easiest things. So taking a walk, the breathing technique, stretching yoga, so the yin yoga or yoga nidra, the practice of rest, meditation. Those are really great ways to add to your daily life. You can literally add those things daily. And then we're talking about the longer rest periods. And those longer rest periods, I think are totally possible and necessary, right? Take a weekend where you literally unplug from everything. I know people who've done it for a whole week. I'm actually looking forward to doing that in July. Just taking a whole week of just unplugging, not going to be participating in the constant pings and pongs and notifications and things that are going on, and just taking a week to detox. Some people call that a detox. And I think those are really good, important, and necessary. So if you found this valuable, please let me know in the comments below. I read all of the comments. Please and share. When you do that, that tells the algorithm that this is something valuable and then we should continue to share it to other people. I really appreciate you guys being on, and I look forward to seeing you next week.